and author of The Magnificent Mischief of Tad Lincoln, Raymond Arroyo.
Well, this is some non-magnificent mischief we're looking at here in Portland.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, but you look at this and you wonder, why is only daytime camping forbidden? Because nighttime camping they can't forbid. A federal appeals court a few years ago created an essentially a right to shelter law in Portland and throughout the state of Oregon, meaning you can't stop these people from camping. So they're trying to get around it by banning daytime camping, but not nighttime, because they would have to provide housing. But you know what is the real tragedy here? The real cause of this? In 2020, they legalized hard drugs. They decriminalized all those drugs. You've got a fentanyl crisis on the streets of this town. This will never go away. We are creating a perpetual cycle of drug-addicted homeless that I don't think any city will be rid of until you're willing to deal squarely with the real problem.
Who could have predicted this?
Yeah, who could have predicted?
But I mean, like, as a showered person yourself, if you went down to Jackson Square in New Orleans and built a Unabomber shed and started living in it, how long would that last?
About 4 seconds, because it's a national park, so they would throw you out.
Good.
But even on the streets of New Orleans, you couldn't do this. But it's different laws. You have different laws at play. But activists, this started with an Occupy movement in 2011, I read. That's how these tent cities and villages started popping up. It was a means of protest. Well, now the protests are regularized. This is a disaster.
I know, but forget the people who actually work,
right,
and their children who have to deal with this and witness this. It happens right across the street from me.
Scandalous. I know, it's horrible.
President Biden, meantime, another scandalous being, currently at the center of an impeachment inquiry, has some strong opinions about the need for institutions to follow a code of ethics. Listen.
The idea that the Constitution would in any way prohibit or not encourage the court to have basic rules of ethics that are just on their face reasonable.
Do it themselves.
Do it themselves is just not the case.
And he's not confident the Supreme Court would even uphold the rule of law, that is, if Republicans are involved.
I worry because I know that if the other team, the MAGA Republicans, win, they don't want to uphold the rule of law. This is real if they were to take over, if they were to have their way.
You can't even make sense of what's being said.
No,
Newsflash, it doesn't really make sense. But look, newsflash for the president. There's a little thing called separation of powers in the Constitution. Who is going to lay out an ethics code for the Supreme Court? That is a question, and a big constitutional one. And I don't think the president, who has dodged and ducked around ethics for most of his career, I'm not sure he's the great source here, particularly when he just told us that he convinced Strom Thurmond to vote for the Voting Rights Act, only he wasn't in Congress when that happened. I mean, what credibility he has here, I don't know, but this is a disaster.
And let's not forget, of course, the Constitution does contain an ethics process. It's called impeachment.
Yes.
And so, talk to the impeachment.
You're right.
Do you know who would get on board with it? Who's the senator from Rhode Island?
Link Chafee?
No.
Yeah, White House. Sheldon Whitehouse?
Yeah.
Sheldon Whitehouse.
That's who, because that's old Shell.
No, in Washington,
Shell just wants to dismantle the court.
Anytime people in Washington start talking about ethics or bipartisanship, grab your wallet and run.
Right. Because
I can guarantee you it has nothing to do with ethics or bipartisanship.
My favorite part is John Harwood, formerly of CNN. Mm-hmm. He's sitting there going, yes, so oh my, so insightful. And here's Biden.
But he's a whisper now. The voice is totally shot. How is he going to run for office with a voice? He's now using a hand mic at events. None of this will work.
Raymond, love you. Raymond Arroyo.